take a look at the device in your hand. That wireless signal you're using right now. It's flowing through a revolutionary invention that powers our entire digital world. But here's the thing. You've probably never heard of the genius who made it possible. In 1929, a brilliant engineer named Herman Affel solved one of technology's greatest puzzles. And without him, you wouldn't be watching this video right now. This is the untold story of the forgotten genius who built the backbone of our modern world. Herman Affel's story begins in 1893 in Germany, where he was born into a world on the cusp of a communication revolution, while most kids his age were playing with toys. Young Herman was already fascinated by the physics of electricity and the mysteries of electromagnetic waves. His family, seeking better opportunities, immigrated to America when he was just a child. In this new land of opportunity, Affel's brilliant mind found its perfect outlet at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where he graduated with honors in electrical engineering in 1914. But it was his next move that would put him at the center of the communication revolution. Joining the prestigious Bell Telephone Laboratories, in those hallowed halls of innovation, Affel found himself surrounded by some of the greatest minds in engineering. But while others focused on the obvious problems of telephony, Affel saw a bigger picture. He understood that the future of communication would require something far more sophisticated than the simple copper wires that had served the telephone industry for decades. The world was getting smaller. Information needed to travel faster, and the existing systems simply couldn't keep up. Bell Labs was the perfect playground for a mind like Affel's, a place where theoretical physics met practical engineering, and where the impossible became possible. But even in this temple of innovation, no one could have predicted the magnitude of what Affel was about to achieve. The 1920s brought an explosion in long-distance communication needs. But the existing technology was hitting a wall. Phone calls over long distances became garbled and weak. Radio signals interfered with each other, creating a cacophony of crossed lines and static. The fundamental problem was electromagnetic interference. Signals bleeding into each other, degrading over distance, and becoming unusable. It was a physics puzzle that had stumped the greatest minds in telecommunications. Affel spent countless nights in his lab, surrounded by equations and experimental apparatus, searching for a solution. The challenge was immense. How do you send multiple signals through a single cable without them interfering with each other? How do you maintain signal strength over hundreds, even thousands of miles? The pressure was mounting. Other researchers around the world were racing to solve the same problem. The stakes were enormous. Whoever cracked this code would essentially control the future of global communications. But Affel faced another challenge that many of his colleagues didn't. As an immigrant in an era of rising nationalism, he had to work twice as hard to prove himself. Every failed experiment, every dead end, every technical setback threatened to end his career. The physics seemed to defy every conventional approach. Traditional cables leaked signals like sieves, and amplifying the signals only amplified the interference. The problem seemed insurmountable. But Affel had a different way of thinking about electromagnetic waves, one that would turn the entire field on its head. In 1929, Affel had his breakthrough. Instead of fighting against the natural behavior of electromagnetic waves, he decided to work with them. His solution was brilliant in its elegance. The coaxial cable, picture a copper wire, but surrounded by an insulating layer, then wrapped in a conducting shield, like a wire within a wire. This design created a controlled environment for signals to travel through, virtually eliminating outside interference. But the real genius was in the mathematics behind it. Affel developed complex equations that described exactly how signals would behave inside this new cable design. His calculations showed that not only could his cable carry multiple signals simultaneously without interference, but it could do so over vast distances with minimal signal loss. The first tests were nothing short of miraculous. Clear, strong signals traveling hundreds of miles without degradation. Multiple channels of information flowing simultaneously through a single cable. It was a quantum leap in communication technology. What made Affel's design truly revolutionary was its versatility. Not only could it handle telephone signals, but it could also carry the high-frequency waves needed for television broadcasting, something no one had even considered possible before. Affel and his team filed the patent in 1929, and in 1940, the first commercial coaxial cable system was installed between Stevens Point, Wisconsin, and Minneapolis, Minnesota. The success was unprecedented. Suddenly, clear, reliable long-distance communication wasn't just possible, it was practical. The age of mass communication had begun, but success in the world of corporate innovation can be bittersweet. While Affel's invention was revolutionary, the nature of working at Bell Labs meant that his personal recognition was limited. His name appeared on patents and technical papers. But as the technology was commercialized, marketing departments and corporate executives took center stage. The coaxial cable was promoted as a Bell System achievement, with individual contributors fading into the background. Affel's technical brilliance actually worked against him in some ways. While others focused on self-promotion and climbing the corporate ladder, he remained dedicated to solving the next technical challenge, the next innovation. He was the quintessential engineer, more interested in solving problems than claiming credit. As television boomed in the 1950s and his coaxial cables formed the backbone of the industry, Affel's role in this communication revolution was already being forgotten. The very nature of his invention, hidden underground or buried within walls, seemed to mirror his own fate. Essential but unseen, corporate histories began to simplify the story, focusing on the more visible figures in the company's hierarchy. Affel continued his work at Bell Labs until retirement, making other significant contributions to telecommunications, but his name gradually disappeared from public consciousness. By the time he passed away in 1972, few outside the specialized field of electrical engineering remembered the man who had made modern mass communication possible. But here's the incredible thing about Herman Affel's legacy. You're experiencing it right now. Every time you watch a YouTube video, every time you send a text, every time you connect to the internet, you're using technology that evolved from his breakthrough. The principles he developed for coaxial cables are still fundamental to modern fiber optics and high-speed data transmission. Today, there are millions of miles of coaxial cables crisscrossing the globe, forming the physical infrastructure of our digital world. They carry television signals, internet data, and phone calls across continents and under oceans. The annual global coaxial cable market is worth billions of dollars, all built on Affel's foundational work. His story is a powerful reminder that the greatest innovations often come from those working quietly behind the scenes, more interested in solving problems than gaining fame. It's also a testament to the impact that immigrants have had on American innovation. A brilliant mind who crossed an ocean and helped build the future. Next time you're streaming your favorite show or scrolling through social media, remember Herman Affel, the forgotten genius who made it all possible. In our age of personal branding and instant celebrity, perhaps we need to look more closely at the quiet innovators who shape our world without seeking the spotlight. If you've enjoyed learning about this forgotten genius, Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more untold stories of the brilliant minds who shaped our world. And let us know in the comments, what other forgotten innovators should we feature next? The history of technology is full of hidden heroes like Affel, waiting for their stories to be told.